who's first?
How is Jordan Poole's ankle?
He's good. He's good to go.
The last time these two teams played, it was high scoring. The Mavericks had 140 points, 141 points. What would you like to see from the defense tonight, too?
Fewer than 140 points. That was a crazy first half, especially. I think it was 74-72 at halftime. Some of the best shooting I've ever seen in my life. The back and forth between D'Angelo and Luka was incredible to watch. But I think we wore down as the game went along. So we've got to come out and defend better from the start, get a better sense of slowing them down earlier in the game, and try to get some traction in the game early at that end. And it's tough to do. They're the #1 offense in the league. They spread you out. They've got a lot of shooters, guys who dive to the rim and dunk, and catch lobs from Luka. So they attack you in a lot of different ways.
Did it surprise you that Marquise got through waivers over the last 3 or so days and was available for you guys?
It did. I guess the one thing that maybe I guess hurt him in terms of not being picked up is just a trade deadline coming up and teams wanting to hang on to roster spots and flexibility. That would be my only guess. But we're the beneficiaries of that, and assuming everything goes cleanly tomorrow, it'll be good to get him back in the fold.
Anything else?
Just looking ahead to Klay Thompson's ceremony at Washington State, you've already had Draymond Green get his jersey retired this season. Now you do Klay Thompson. What does that mean to you as a coach to see that happen, especially for a guy like Klay who just doesn't really have a lot going on right now?
Klay does need to be occupied for sure, and so I'm excited for him. It's a great honor, and I wish I could be there. But being there in East Lansing with Draymond last month was incredible. It's just fun to see kind of the early parts of these guys' stories, where they began, and then you kind of get to see the people they met and they were helped by. When you see the ceremony itself, you see the people who were there, and you see all the people who've been impacted by Klay's presence there. And it's going to be fun to at least see the footage, and I'm proud of Klay and proud of everything he's done since, obviously.
The WNBA has a new CBA. Notably, they're getting pay raises, and they'll have 50% of the revenue next season, just like the men do. In the NBA, what do you think of the gains the women have made?
I think it's great. I read that they got their own hotel rooms on the road, which may not seem like a big deal to you, but it took us forever to get that in the NBA. I think we got that kind of midway through my career. So first half of my career, we shared rooms with roommates. If we wanted our own room, we had to pay the difference, and that just seemed like kind of a petty thing, that the owners were hanging on to, but we could never win that in collective bargaining. And I remember when we finally won it, it was a really big deal. But I'm happy for the women. I think the quality of play has really improved dramatically. I think it's good to see them earn everything they're getting, and good to see the game growing. Kevin Johnson, Phoenix. Was he neat? Yes, but I was not. So.
Steve, this point of the season is often referred to as the dog days, and I know from the past few years you've had a pretty set roster, pretty set squad. But I would think it would be a little different. Is it different this year? Do you still have the same dog days feeling, or is there just so much going on to where it's a little different?
No, this is definitely the dog days, and you feel it even more so, I think, when you're losing. You know, it's tough to get through a season like this when you're struggling. And you know, we've lost, I think, 8 in a row, and that just wears on you. And when you're in January, and you still got a ways to go till the break, and you're only halfway through the schedule. It does feel like a grind, and so we need to win a game. You know, we need to put together a good effort, win a game, so that everybody can feel better about themselves in that locker room.
Steve, over here. As it relates to Luka and just the rocket ship that he's on right now, as far as attention around the league, and you've been around a lot of great players and people who have rocketed up that way. What's the biggest thing that you see that he or anybody in that situation, you know, has to deal with in order to just, you know, be able to concentrate on really what's the most important thing, and obviously that's playing?
Well, he seems to be handling his business pretty well, so I don't worry about him. I think anybody in that situation has a lot coming at him in terms of the notoriety and the attention, the strategy, you know, people game planning for him, that kind of stuff. None of it seems to faze him. He's playing at a really high level. He's handling himself well. I love the manner in which he plays with a smile on his face. He's obviously having fun out there. And he's a brilliant basketball player. He makes his teammates better. Great passer, great shooter. And he's great for the game. You know, he's really good for the NBA. He's important for the league. And it doesn't really have anything to do with you know, him coming from Europe. It's more just what a wonderful basketball player he is. He's different. You know, he's got this incredible knack for seeing the floor and being a step ahead. You know, it reminds me a little bit of Larry Bird in that regard. He's got one step ahead in the chess match. But he's got this James Harden skill set with crossovers and step backs. And so he's a brilliant player, so young, and so he's going to be one of the cornerstones of this league for a long time. So he's very important to the NBA.
We're talking to Klay a little bit later today, and I know official timeline reevaluation is going to come at the All-Star break, but you know, he's now past the 6-month mark since the surgery. As a guy who has torn his ACL, what do you remember kind of about maybe that pocket of time when you're kind of getting closer, maybe you're getting closer beyond the court, and what have you seen from him in his rehab?
Well, that was 1986, so before you were born. A little different rehab process back then. You know, everything was much slower. I think I was just allowed to start cutting at that point. You know, these days the process goes a little faster. So I'm watching Klay, you know, out on the floor shooting a lot of shots, and you know, he's got that beautiful stroke, and he's just, you know, out there smiling and laughing and shooting jumpers. So it just, more than anything, it just feels good to see him out there, and for him to feel it like he's actually closer. And you know, even though, you know, he's still a ways from being out on the floor, he's so far along, you know, now compared to, you know, when this first started. So he's pretty far down the path, and so I think he's starting to feel that. You know, the routine is changing now. He's on the court a lot more, and you know, I'm asking him to be around our team a lot more, both Steph and Klay. I've talked to about starting to be engaged and involved with the group. The players, the new players, need to get to know those guys, and vice versa. And they give our young group some confidence just with their presence. And so I think that's all part of the next step here for both Steph and Klay.
Steve, you've kind of gone to Omari to start at the center spot the past couple of games. I'm just wondering how much of that is what Omari's done, and how much of that is not having Marquise around for this past week or so?
I'm trying to think exactly how the process began, but, you know, he played well over the previous couple weeks before I gave him his first start in LA last week. And so I suppose, you know, Marquise's situation helped Omari get a few more minutes, but I was definitely rewarding Omari too for how well he had played before that. So he's earned this, you know, and it's a different look. I mean, I think that's where we are as a team. We have to see what we have. We have to really evaluate these young players, think about where they'll fit next year. And Omari can be a pick and pop big man, and that's a different look from what Willie gives us and what most of our bigs have given us the last few years. So it's been fun to see him develop, see his confidence grow, and he's doing a great job.
Steve, your field goal percentages from 5 feet and in, 2 feet and in are really not good. Have you noted this?
Thank you.
Yes, really not good. Do you think there is a causation? Can you put your finger, I mean, can you coach to it? Can you, I mean, have you discussed what this means and why this is happening?
Well, it's a number that would look a lot different with Steph and Klay playing, because that changes everything with, you know, what you're trying to do offensively. You're always trying to get the defense to react, and I think the hardest thing about this year has been getting the defense to react, to get that first, you know, I always call it the first domino to fall. You get the chain reaction of, all right, you break the first guy down, now the help comes, and now you start to move the ball, and that's where you get layups and you get easy shots, maybe putbacks, that kind of stuff. So to me, that number reflects just how difficult it's been for us to break down the defense, and there's a reason for that. You know, we're asking every guy in this roster who's playing to play up a level, at least a level from where he's been in the past, and that's a tough thing. And so trying to generate offense has been the biggest challenge, and we got guys who are fighting and doing as best they can. But there's a reason guys make a ton of money in this league when they're stars, because they impact the entire floor and everything that happens on the floor.
Great. Is that it? Cool. Thank you. Appreciate that.